Hello friends, welcome to Kamath Astrology. In today's video, we will discuss about the US presidential elections taking place on November 5th, 2024. So when I look at the chart on November 5th, 2024, you can see multiple Shadashtaks in the chart, that is planets at 6-8 positions from each other. And on this day, Mars and Pluto mutually aspect each other, whereas Mars is at 6 degrees in the sign of Cancer, Pluto is at 5 degrees in the sign of Capricorn. Now have a look at the screen. You can see two charts on the screen. The left side chart is the Independence Day chart of United States, which was formed on 4th July 1776 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, USA. That is the natal chart. And the right hand side chart, the dark orange chart, is the election day chart for USA for 5th November 2024. Now you can see a very peculiar combination here. Mars and Pluto are mutually aspecting each other with hardly a 1 degree separation. So you can see Pluto is at 5 degrees in Capricorn, Mars is at 6 degrees in the sign of Cancer. Now what does Pluto represent? Pluto represents the underworld. Pluto represents death, destruction followed by rebirth. Mars represents violence. Mars represents aggression, anger. Now if you look at the United States chart, it has a Sagittarius ascendant or Dhanu Lagna. So the first house is represented by the Dhanu Lagna. And if you look at the transit chart, Mars is in the 8th house. 8th house is the house of accidents, of fear, of separation, of secret things, hidden things. And this is the sign of Cancer, which represents emotions. So when Mars is in Cancer, it represents an emotional outburst amongst the people of America. Now, what is Capricorn? Capricorn is the sign which is ruled by Saturn. Capricorn is the second house in this chart. So it represents the family, it represents the wealth, and you can find Pluto there. Pluto represents destruction, death, rebirth. When Pluto and Mars mutually aspect each other, the 2-8 houses in this chart are highly activated in transit, and that indicates possibility of intense violence, riots and destruction following the elections or just before it. Now this is not the only combination that indicates this. You look at the other planets in the chart. If you see Saturn and Mars, Mars is 6th from Saturn and Saturn is 8th from Mars. So it forms a Shadashtak yoga. Saturn is in Aquarius, Mars is in Cancer. Similarly, look at Rahu and Sun. Rahu is in Pisces, Sun is in Libra, and again they are forming a Shadashtak yoga. Look at Mars and Moon. Moon is in Dhanu or Sagittarius. Mars is in Cancer. So again it is forming a Shadashtak yoga. Look at Jupiter and Moon. Jupiter is in Taurus and Moon is in Sagittarius. Again they are at 6-8 positions from each other, forming a Shadashtak yoga. Look at Jupiter and Sun. Again Sun is 6th from Jupiter and Jupiter is 8th from the Sun. So again they are forming a Shadashtak yoga. Look at Shani and Ketu. Shani is in Aquarius, Ketu is in Kanya. Again they are at 8-6 positions from each other, forming a Shadashtak yoga. So when the planets are forming multiple Shadashtak yoga in the chart on that day, it clearly indicates that it is not a good day or a good time. You don't even need to look at the Mahadashas, Antardashas. Simply by looking at the Shadashtaks and simply by looking at the mutual aspect of Mars and Pluto, you can conclude that this election will be marred by violence, civil war or civil riots within the United States. That is what this chart very clearly shows. Now, in the transit chart on this day, Jupiter is in the 6th house of Taurus or Vrishab with respect to the Dhanu Lagna or Sagittarius ascendant. Again, Jupiter in the 6th house creates religious disharmony in the country. Mars in the 8th house can bring intense violence. Though Mars is debilitated in Cancer, nevertheless, it is receiving a mutual aspect of Pluto. It is in Shadashtak with Saturn, it is in Shadashtak with Moon, and that itself can trigger a lot of emotional outburst, lot of violence within the United States. So, friends, the question here is not who will become the president, whether it is Biden or Trump. We are not analyzing that in this video. But the point is that these multiple Shadashtaks on this date, as well as the mutual Mars Pluto aspect, shows that this election is bound to be marred by violence, civil riots, and lot of internal disturbance within the United States of America. Even if we superimpose the natal chart of United States, that is the left hand side chart, and the transit chart, you can see that Rahu is in Cancer in the natal chart, whereas in the transit chart, Mars is in Cancer. So you superimpose Rahu on Mars here, it again shows emotional outburst and lot of violence. Look at Saturn in the natal chart. It is in the 10th house of United States. 10th house represents your karma. It represents your profession, it represents your career. For a country, it represents masses. And if you look at Kanya in the transit chart, you have Ketu. So superimpose Saturn on Ketu. Again, that shows lot of loss of life, disturbance within the United States of America, lot of conflicts. Virgo is a sign that deals with conflicts and disturbances. So when you impose Saturn on Ketu, again it shows lot of problems during this time in the United States. So friends, my point here is this period of 5th November 2024 is not a good time for conducting elections in the United States. However, since governments don't believe in astrology, this is bound to happen. And definitely the charts indicate that there will be widespread violence in the United States. This election will be very different. Now, around 13th or 14th July, there was an assassination attempt on Trump. We all saw that. So the incidents during this election are very different. The atmosphere in United States is also highly charged up at this time. Biden has also been infected by COVID recently. So many things are happening in the United States. And all these combinations around the election date show large-scale violence. Now, Pluto in the 2nd house of Capricorn represents death followed by destruction. 2nd house is the wealth, the economy of the country, and therefore this Pluto there aspected by Mars can show a sudden downfall in the dollar value or a very huge economic crisis coming up in America in the times ahead. That is around this date of 5th November 2024. Again, if you superimpose Ketu in the natal chart with Pluto in Capricorn in the transit chart, again both these planets indicate death and rebirth. So definitely this time period of November 2024, either just before the elections or after the elections, points to very large scale violence in the United States, civil riots, and lot of disturbances in the United States. So if you are residing in the United States, I have two pieces of advice for you. One is keep sufficient cash with you because there will be problems in this time. Recently also you can see how the Microsoft blue screen death caused airports and banks to not function for almost 15 hours. So if due to this violence during this time, the internet is cut off or the mobile network is cut off, you will have a tough time. So definitely keep adequate stock of food and money with you in this time period. Pray to God, stay in a safe place. That is my advice to you during this time period. Now, whether to follow it or not is up to you, but this is my sincere advice to you that be careful during the time period of elections. Take care of your near and dear ones and live in a safe place. Even if you look at the position of Sun and Mars on this day of 5th November 2024, both are in their signs of debilitation, which means the government will be helpless during this time. The army will also be helpless during this time. And it will be entirely up to the people of America as to how they defend themselves and stay safe. The 8th Lord Moon has also gone into the first house. 8th is destruction coming to the self, right? 8th Lord going in the first. So it is a violent period. So friends, that's all from my end. If you like this video, do mark it as liked on YouTube. If you have not subscribed to our channel, you can do so by clicking the subscribe button now. For any queries, you can write to us at astrosevaworld@yahoo.com or reach out to us through our website astroseva.tripod.com. So friends, thanks a lot. Bye. Take care and stay safe.